Good morning, my loves. Happy Saturday. It is yet another bright, and beautiful day here at the lake. High today is 106. Hey, it's Arizona. What do you expect? Interesting topic today. May push some buttons. Not that that's ever stopped me before. We are discussing generational curses. Now, I am not talking generational curses like Uncle Billy's big nose or Aunt Martha's big ears or, Cousin Susie's big butt. Not those curses. We are talking about toxic behaviors and patterns in families that have been passed down and normalized. And then you wonder why people, end up with serious personal issues. And it's right in front of your eyes. The first thing that comes to mind, because I've thought about this a little while this morning, the first thing that came to mind was a child I saw. Now, this is years ago. I lived in the Ozarks many years ago. And there was a family, and, how kids play together and such, and everything was fine. And a little kid ran over to his mama and gave him a hug and said, "I love you, mama." And the mama hugged and kissed that baby and cuddled him and said, "I love you too, go play." That's pretty standard in most homes. Well, another child walked over to his mama and said, "Why don't you ever say that to me?" "What? Why don't we say I love you? Because we don't do that in our family. We don't need that." That's not good, honey. We all need that. We all need to hear "I love you." We all need to feel the affection and the love. In all likelihood, her mama didn't tell her. And her grandma didn't tell her mama. And her great-grandma didn't tell her grandma. It was passed down. It was normalized that you don't need to feel love. You're not worthy of love. You're not worth hearing "I love you." We show our kids. I don't care what you show your kids. Tell your kids. Tell them with words every day. And I have said this, and I will keep saying it, at least 3 times a day. When they wake up in the morning, when they run out the door, and when you put them to bed at night. Tell them you love them. They need to hear it. You need to say it. I cannot emphasize this enough. Another generational curse. I'm trying to be delicate on this. That's not my strong suit. I am not Willy Wonka. I do not sugarcoat. Relatives that inappropriately touch children. The family pedophile. That's right. Generational curse. Because for so long in so many families, it's, Uncle Billy touched so-and-so. Well, just stay away from him after that. Why enable Uncle Billy? Do something about it. It's normalized. So now he's going to touch somebody else's kids and somebody else's kids and somebody else's kids. Will those children in return exhibit that same behavior? How many people do you know, possibly yourself, I'm not passing judgment, sweetheart, we're just talking, that were inappropriately touched as children, okay? Raped, abused, beaten, molested, that in turn become sexual predators. Yeah. Because that anger has to go somewhere, and they don't know where to direct it, so they just take it out on somebody else. Generational curse. Stop enabling pedophiles. Stop. If a child comes to you and says, "So-and-so touched me, so-and-so tried to touch me, they tried to kiss me, they tried to touch my privates," believe your child. Your loyalty goes to your child, not to the offender, ever. You believe your baby. You stand up for your baby. And you go to that individual and you tell them, "Don't ever come near my baby again." And then you go to the police, go to the authorities. Because if they're touching your child, they're touching somebody else's child. You can't stay quiet about this. Don't sweep it under the rug. You may have been touched. He may have touched you. It brings up a lot of really bad feelings, emotions, and memories. Don't put that on your baby. That's not your baby's burden to carry. Face your offender. Don't do something stupid and, face them off to yourself and break out a weapon or something stupid. No. Go through the appropriate channels. Go to the authorities. They need to know. Another topic, and I touched on it, I mentioned it, I don't know if you caught it, is people that go beyond corporal punishment. And it's a very, corporal punishment is a hot topic. Some families spank and some don't. Now, with my son, I never had to raise a hand to him, ever, because I had that mama look down. And we all know the mama look. I had the mama look. My mama had the mama look down. It's a gift. Now, I wouldn't call that mama look a generational curse, but you know the look. That don't you even think about it look. Other people, and I'm not saying I'm not judging. If you spank your child, a swat on the bottom, through their clothes, through the diaper, if they're running out on, to the street, and you grab them by the arm and you swat them on the face and say, we don't do that. Okay. They're touching the stove. They're pulling the dog's tail. Beating a child is never acceptable, ever. And I hear this all the time. Well, my mom and daddy beat me. They made us go get a switch. Their mom and daddy went and got a switch on them, took them out back. But that doesn't make it right. It just makes it generational. Think about what you're doing. Violence is never an answer. Apathy is not an option, and violence is never an answer. Violence will just lead to more violence. And I will ask them. And so let's just say that I'm talking to you, that it's you, okay? Hypothetically, because I don't know you. So let's say that you raise your hand to your child excessively. Let's say that you just slap the tarnation out of your child. You hit them with a fist. You hit them with objects, with belts, brushes, shoes, whatever. Maybe it's just fist fights. Think, when you were growing up, the very first time that happened, and I know you remember it, how did that make you feel? Probably physical pain, humiliation, embarrassment, unloved, rejected, anger, hate. Maybe you wanted to swing back at him. All of that, and I know you can almost feel it all over again. That's what you're putting on your child. Why would you do that? Sorry, the sun's moving a little bit. There we go. Why would you want to put those emotions on your child? Because it's not telling them, stop, don't do that. Beating them is just saying, I want to humiliate you. I want to hurt you so deeply. That's not what parenting's about. Parenting is teaching them right from wrong. And yeah, there's discipline involved. And for some kids, timeout isn't going to cut it. But beating them isn't either. That's assault and battery. You can go to jail for that for a very long time. If your child is seriously injured, lacerations, broken bones, contusions, concussions, damaged organs. Oh yeah, you can bruise some kidneys, a spleen. You can do some serious damage. And that's not okay. If you have an anger issue, if you have an addiction, if you have a problem, honey, that is your problem, not your child's. Don't take it out on your child. They may push your buttons and set you off because maybe that's what kids do. But violence isn't the answer. That's not the option. If you need to step away, step away. Do not hit your child. Do not beat your child. Do not abuse your child. If you need to have your child live with Grandma or Aunt Mary, that's okay. Because that is better than you beating your child and going to jail and seriously injuring or killing your child. So please think about that. Please. Another generational curse is feeling that you don't have to work. You don't need education, you don't have to work because the state will pick up the tab. No, honey, we all need an education beyond the 6th grade. Everybody needs to learn how to read and write. There are so many amazing books out there, and I should know because I've written some. But seriously, there are some really good books that kids should be reading. I don't believe in book banning myself because I was raised reading Tom Sawyer and Catcher in the Rye and wonderful books, To Kill a Mockingbird, just wonderful, wonderful books. Yes, the language is inappropriate by today's standards, but it wasn't then, and it's just culture. The books we're writing today will someday be, questioned by our children's children. Just know that it's culture. We don't speak like that today. It's inappropriate today, but appreciate the book for what it is, the work of art that it is. But let your children have an education. Maybe they want to go to college. And I immediately think of somebody that I once knew that did not do well in school. It was a mother. She did not like school. She had children that were very, very bright kids that were doing wonderful in school and kind of wanted to go to college. No, you're not going to college. She didn't even want them to go to a tech school, a trade school. No, you just get a normal job. You can work on a farm. Because she didn't like it. It scared her for them to like it. Don't pass that on. Don't pass your fears on to your children. Encourage them, nurture them, stand behind them, be proud of them. Let them do what they want as far as college. If they want to go to college, if they don't. If they were interested in going to a VOTAC, learning a trade, God bless them. They're going to be able to support themselves and their family. That's amazing. Encourage that. Do not encourage people to just stay home, have babies, and get welfare. Because it happens every day. Every day. When I lived in the Ozarks, I worked with a lot of communities, and I saw that firsthand. And it was just, great grandma, who they just buried 2 weeks ago, was always on welfare, and grandma's on welfare, and mama's on welfare, and her kids who were 14 and 15 having babies are on welfare. Nobody has any intention of ever getting a job or finishing school or anything else. Come on. You are worth more. Your kids are worth more. Stop the ignorance. I'm not saying you're stupid. Ignorant means you don't have the knowledge. And so lastly, and I know this is running long, but it's important. Don't pass your fears onto your kids, because that can become a generational curse. That happened in my family. My mom, terrified of water. She was scared to death to swim, to get in a lake, to go to a lake, to visit a lake. Same with her mother. Now, I don't know about her great-grandmother on her mom's side. I have no idea. But it had been passed down to her, and she in turn passed that down to me. And I have taken swim lessons, and I am 65 years old, and I can't swim because the terror just scares me to death. I am looking at houses. I live in Arizona. My house will have a pool, and I will learn to swim. I will overcome my fear. I will face my fear. I will not let her fear that was passed to me continue. You can break the generational curse. My son swims like a fish. My granddaughter swims like a fish. She loves it. And that's great because they recognized they don't have to be like that. So if it is you and you are dealing with generational curses, be courageous and brave. Be the one to break the cycle. May piss some people off. You may be the outcast, the black sheep in the family for breaking the traditions. Be proud of that. Be proud of that. It's no different than, alcoholism running in the family. Well, does it run in the family, or is it just passed down as this is how we deal and cope with stress? We reach for a bottle, we reach for drugs, we reach for weed. There's a difference. Look at your life. Look at your child's life. You deserve happiness and joy and a life of safety, that you don't have to worry about being hit, being inappropriately touched, called names, abused. Honey, you're worthy, and your babies are worthy.